Alright, got part B. Alright, B. B attempts to try and justify Israeli bombing tactics. Human shields, my personal favorite. This lie is impressive because it contains at least three lies within it. Two words, three lies, impressive. The first lie is that Israel is justified in any bombing because of, quote, human shields. This one is fairly easy to disprove. So if I break into your home and use you as a human shield in a police standoff, is the police now justified in killing you, your family, and destroying your home to get me? No. That would be wrong. That would be wrong and evil. While this wrong and evil is standard Israeli operating procedure. Let's say. Sorry, make sure my camera's good here. Let's see. Let's say there is someone shooting from a hospital or school. Use snipers or robots and drones, and or send in people. Destroying the entire facility with bombs is not the correct answer. Like I said, use snipers, bombs, robots, send in people, anything, but destroying everything because a human shield or two is not right. The next lie is this idea that, oh, the Palestinians use human shields, but us Israelis would never do so. Lie. The Israelis do it all the time. Go online and search for a Palestinian human shield under images, and you'll find examples of Israeli soldiers using Palestinians as human shields. Also, arguably, the fact that Israeli soldiers are hiding among the population, as they say. That's human shields too. The final lie is that Palestinians are actually even using human shields at all. Evidence suggests they are in fact not doing so. If there was, Israel could show us. Israel could fly their little quadcopter drones into buildings they bomb and be like, "Here, see, there's the militants." But it's always just some aerial photography from way up high, and you can't see any fighters, and we're supposed to just trust Israel when they tell us there is militants inside, even though Israel has been caught lying over and over and over again. Furthermore, Israel strikes militants off the battlefield. Look up their Where's Daddy AI targeting software. Israel would deliberately strike militants off the battlefield while they are at home with their families. That's not human shields. That's not a militant using a human shield, and you have no choice but to respond. That is more like a serial killer stalking someone and waiting until their victim goes home to kill not just the victim, but their whole family. That's Israel doing terrorism and war crimes and collective punishment and atrocities. Imagine if the roles were reversed. Imagine if a bunch of Israelis are killed and the response is just human shields because there's an Israeli soldier among the dead. Therefore, the other dead are human shields and their killing is fine. Would that be accepted? No. So, no, human shields don't justify Israel. And actually, if we're going to talk human shields, we have to talk about how Israel does this because it seems to be a lot more common that Israel does this. 12. Tunnels. The idea here is that because there is a tunnel underground, that therefore Israel is justified in bombing everything above ground. This is like saying your neighbor has a meth lab, so now the police can bulldoze your home to get to your neighbor. No, everyone nearby does not suddenly become criminal and fair game. If there's a problem with one house, go after that one house. If there's something underground, then go underground and get it. Don't destroy everything above ground. Underground tunnel combat has happened in many wars from World War I to Vietnam and beyond. If there's tunnels, then go in the tunnels. Or send in the drones and robots if you're scared. Destroying everything above ground is not the right answer. So no, underground tunnels don't justify Israel bombing everything above ground. Let's see. 13. Precision munitions. This is absurd on several levels. Some we already addressed. So just on the, quote, precision munitions. This is just as absurd as surgery by precision laser guided sledgehammer. But won't that smash my head or destroy my heart? Don't worry about it. It's precision and laser guided. It doesn't matter how precise the bombs are. Once they explode, it is unprecise chaos. You can't control all the shrapnel or the debris or how structures will react or what catches fire and so many other things. A precise sledgehammer will never be a surgical tool like a scalpel. A precision bomb will never have the targeting accuracy of something like a sniper rifle. Every bombing Israel does with a quote precision munition is an act of terrorism. Use snipers or the quad drones or something else. I know they have them because I've seen videos of them flying around shooting and terrorizing civilians. Use them for actual combat instead. A place as densely populated as Gaza shouldn't have these massive Israeli bombs going off inside, no matter how, quote, precise they are. 14. Israel gives warnings for their bombings. The idea here is that by giving a warning about a bombing, that therefore Israel is justified in their bombing and there's nothing wrong. Well, first of all, Israel also bombs without warning, probably even more than with warning. B. This is absurd. So if your neighbor has problems with the police are now justified in destroying your home because they gave you a warning they were going to do it? No. Send in people into that house. Send in a robot or drone if you're scared. But destroying everything is not the answer. But let's say Israel gives a warning for every bombing or operation they do. They don't, but let's say they do for the sake of argument. The argument is absurd even if it's true. So they give a warning and the civilians are supposed to flee. But the militants who are the target do what? They just stay put knowing a bomb is coming? No, they flee too. The only people remaining after these quote warnings are not going to be healthy, able bodied, military aged individuals. The only people remaining after these quote warnings are going to be the elderly, the sick, the handicapped, small children, and mothers of small children. In other words, the only people remaining and being killed are going to be the most innocent people. These quote unquote warnings are not humanitarian or moral. That's just what Israel wants you to believe. It's propaganda for foreign consumption. Death threats would be a more accurate description. C. Attempts to justify Israeli collective punishment. Once you debunk the human shields, they'll hit you with, well, they all deserve to die anyways. C. Attempts to justify Israeli collective punishment. Number 15. Gazans voted for their government. Gazans voted for the government, so they're all guilty. First of all, no, they didn't. Which election? The 2006 one? Half of Gaza is children and can't vote. Some of those that are now adults were children in the last election and could not vote. So right there, the majority of Gaza did not vote for their government. Plus factor in all the people who voted for anyone else. So now it's truly a small minority who even voted for the current government. Furthermore, Israelis voted for Benjamin Netanyahu, and Israel has a high voter turnout. Does that mean all Israelis are guilty? Is an Israeli baker now equally guilty as a fighter pilot? Notice the double standard deployed by Israel defenders. Voting makes all Palestinians guilty, but voting doesn't make all Israelis guilty. Israel can only be defended with such double standards. So no, most Gazans did not vote for the ruling government. And even if they did, it's still wrong and not justified in doing collective punishment. C16. Cheering. The idea is that Gazans cheered for October 7th, so now they're all bad and guilty. First of all, what's wrong with cheering October 7th? There was no 40 beheaded babies or any other of those horror stories. Most or all the horror stories of October 7th turned out to be false, and Israel never clarified how most of the dead were military, not civilians. It was a military attack, not a terror attack. So what's wrong? What's wrong with cheering October 7th? Israelis and Americans cheer their military. If cheering the military is okay, even patriotic and honorable, then Palestinians can cheer their military. That's okay too. Nothing wrong with that. Israelis cheered their military, including before October 7th. So you could say October 7th was a response to that. So if Israel defenders want to say cheering of military makes everyone fit for slaughter, then all Israelis are fit for slaughter. So no, cheering Gazans do not justify Israeli collective punishment. claims Israel has no choice to do but what it does. This is usually once you show it's completely wrong, but Israel defenders will be like, no, we can't stop. D17, Israel has a right to, quote, defend itself. First of all, do Palestinians have a right to defend themselves? We're supposed to acknowledge this sacred right of Israel to defend itself. And Palestinians, what? They don't have a right to defend themselves? No equal rights? Put this point aside. The Iron Dome missile system is self defense. Pushing back the territory they lost on October 7th is self defense. Limited raids like on Osama bin Laden are self defense. Destroying entire cities is not self defense. Even if there's tunnels, send in people or robots in the tunnels. It's been done in other wars. Destroying everything above ground is not justifiable. It's collective punishment. Human shields don't justify Israel. Use a sniper or your little drone robots, but not these giant bombs. Israel is doing collective punishment, which is a war crime. Israel is not doing self-defense. This is clear from their words and their actions. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has invoked Amalek multiple times, which is a biblical call to kill all women, men, and children. Furthermore, Israeli soldiers film themselves doing controlled demolitions of civilian buildings regularly. This is not combat or fighting or collateral damage. Israeli soldiers are destroying buildings just to destroy. It's a war crime. Simple. 18. What was Israel supposed to do? Give Palestinians back their hostages, which you took first. That's why Palestinians took hostages for exchange. That's what you do. And if you're scared of another October 7th, then remove those Israelis from the border area that Israel uses as human shields and do a giant minefield or pave the whole area a mile or two back. And you're good. You'll see them coming a mile away. We cover this in self-defense. Israel is not currently engaging in self-defense. One only needs to look at their self-incriminating statements from leaders all up and down the chain of command, including Israeli foot soldiers who record these criminal orders being carried out. They really are like the Germans in so many ways, the Israelis. Official German policy was to not allow the photographing of the massacres they did, but they still took photos anyways. Official Israeli policy is that soldiers aren't allowed to have phones, yet they have phones and they are recording Israeli war crimes. But at least the bullets and the Zyklon kills you quick. Death by rubble is slow. In this way, Israel is worse. Was Israel supposed to do nothing? Sure, why not? That's what we expect of the Palestinians. We expect, certainly the Palestinians, certainly the Israelis do, that they just take tons of daily humiliation and industrial punishment and death and just accept it and do nothing. If we can let Israeli war criminals get away with thousands of deaths, we can do the same for Palestinians. But the Palestinians were punished for war crimes they didn't do, which raises the question, how will we now punish the Israelis for the crimes which are worse and actually real? Since forgiveness is off the table, then we can't forgive Israel. Never forget, never forgive. How will we now punish those Israeli war criminals? Not rhetorical. How? Ask yourself. Number 20, rockets. The idea here is that Palestinians shoot rockets into Israel, so now Israel is justified in all the mass killing they do. Well, the average rocket kills anywhere from 0 to 1 people, usually 0. There's a bunch of rockets and usually nobody dies. In 2024, there's been 8,000 rockets fired and they haven't killed anywhere near 8,000 people. These aren't some huge, dangerous threat that kills tons. They're glorified fireworks. They're mostly symbolic. In fact, fireworks might be more dangerous and deadly because they could start a fire that grows. So your average rocket kills anywhere from 1 to 0 people, usually 0. So to kill dozens of people to try and justify this single death or to prevent some damage to a house is not justifiable. You are causing more harm than you are preventing. You are now the greater evil.